And another thing, if you believe what you believe all the time, then you're not going to get anywhere in life. You're going to be stuck in this box. Ooh, are we live? Sorry. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Life Matters TV. My name is Tommy Stoffel, coming to you from somewhere in the world on planet Earth, in California, actually. And today, my partner David and I are going to explore this concept of beliefs. And it's a tricky one. It's one of these, perhaps a solution maybe disguised, or what is it? A problem disguised as a solution, as my friend Marjan says. Because sometimes we get caught up in our own beliefs, right? And that limits what we can think about and what we can explore. So David and I are going to start looking at that box of beliefs. David, welcome to the show today. What's going on? What are we doing? Talking about beliefs, huh?
Yeah. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Tommy. And I'm here in Belmont, as always. You can always tell by this beautiful picture behind me that was done by my father probably, God, 25, 30 years ago. And I just love it. Anyway, beliefs. Beliefs are good news, bad news kind of thing, really. They serve us in a lot of different ways. They help us to navigate our way through our physical world. And they really do have a powerful purpose. They can help us in a lot of different ways. I mean, just imagine, for example, if you walk up to the edge of a cliff and decide to just keep going. And you didn't have the belief that, oh my God, I'm going to crash on the rocks below. You know, if you didn't understand that, if you didn't have that belief, then who knows what could happen in your life. So it can be very useful. But on the other hand, sometimes we have beliefs that maybe aren't so useful, like I'm not good enough. You know, there's one that has been with me for a long time. It's something that I have to work on all the time. I have to remind myself that it's not true. I have to keep coming back and just loving myself. So there are some beliefs that really serve us, and there are some beliefs that, well, maybe they served us on some level before, but they just don't serve us anymore. And so today, Tommy and I are talking about how to maybe take a closer look at some of those beliefs and, you know, kind of evaluate them all and decide, does this work for me or doesn't it work for me? And if it does work for me, great, just keep doing it. Maybe find a different way of framing it that serves you even more. And if it doesn't work so well, then find out what is it underneath that's getting you to hold on to that belief. So that's where we are today, and we're going to have fun with it, as always, because Tommy and I just can't help ourselves. You know, we are those kind of people. At least I believe we are.
That's our belief right now. I was listening to a guy talking the other day about it, and he said those old beliefs are actually stored in the back part of our brain, those older concepts. Some of the things that maybe we don't even think we believe anymore, but are still there. They're kind of planted there. They're kind of ingrained there. And what they do is when we're making a decision today in this moment, so here we are today and we've got a situation going on and we want to believe something, or we want to think about something, or we want to create something. And somewhere the history of our brain comes flying forward and brings those beliefs without us even knowing it a lot of times into our decision-making process. And we know just by common sense, and we've talked about this before, that our thoughts, what we think about, leads to our actions, or at least what we do. And what we do leads to our results. So if our thoughts, which is what we're talking about here, which is part of our beliefs, our ideas, our concepts, are either tainted or old or no longer serve us, and those are playing into our present moment thoughts, it's going to lead to our present moment actions. It's going to lead to our results. So we can see where this is going. And so we want to get in there and really think about clearing this out. And David, I think we'll get to it at some point today. One of the fun games that we brought up is about thinking about impossible things, right? So don't know if we want to jump that fence just yet, but beliefs, they kind of get us in boxes is where I'm starting from.
Yeah, and well, if you think about it for a minute, if you have a belief, you automatically have a corresponding impossible belief on the opposite side of that. Because if you believe one thing, then your ego mind and your logical brain and everything else that you've got working for you tends to disbelieve the opposite. This is what makes life so challenging and so difficult, and it makes it hard for us sometimes to modify our belief systems and to look at possibilities that might be outside the box. So really what we're talking about here is opening ourselves up to possibilities. I mean, what if, just for the sake of crazy argument, what if everything we believe is wrong? What if everything you believe is wrong? I mean, wouldn't that kind of upset you? Wouldn't it kind of turn your world upside down? I mean, you'd have to reevaluate everything. That's quite a scary thing for a lot of people to do. And yet, maybe that's exactly what we have to do if we want to just kind of open ourselves up, grow and expand and become more amazing people. What do you think, Tommy?
You're absolutely right, David. And it can get scary, right? And it can get, oh my gosh, what? I have to give up, what I believe. And well, not everything, but there comes a point in your life when you need to question some of the things that have been, look, it's not like we went out there consciously in a lot of situations and picked out these beliefs out of the world. A lot of this stuff was kind of imposed upon us. Yep. It was taught to us in school. It came through textbooks. Look, you talk about history books. Understand this, right? History books are written by the victor, the winner of a war, the winner of a situation. The Native Americans didn't write the American history book. So what we learned here in America about history is tainted in the beliefs of a certain mindset and a certain belief system that certain people had. So realize that it's imposed upon us. We're ingrained with it. As Miguel Ruiz calls it, we're conditioned. Mm-hmm. Miguel Ruiz also took this a step further, and after his 4 agreements, he wrote a 5th agreement, which he explained to me once meant, don't believe anything you hear. And what he meant by that is to question, go in with your inner wisdom now that's coming forth, and go with your wisdom and question some of the things that you're being told. And he says, don't even believe yourself. Where does that put us, right? Into that scary place. What? Well,
there's an interesting thing, Tommy. One thing that I've learned in my life is, we have the capacity to believe things, whether they're true or not, whether they're real or not. And this is something that we demonstrate everywhere, all over consider some of the beliefs on the planet that are rampant right now. I mean, I was just listening to the radio the other day, and they were talking about, wow, I see two versions of Tommy on the call. That's cool.
I totally got knocked off. So if you were going still, good, then the whole thing.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that this radio show was talking about this organization, ISIS organization, where they have taken some interpretation of a scripture and transcribed it into something as a form of faith, and so they justify raping women because of that belief, because of that article of faith. And this is something, I don't know how long it's been in the Quran and how long it's been interpreted that way, but I was stunned when I heard that. Here we are in the 21st century, and this is the kind of belief system that people have. So whether it's true or not, we'll believe it. This is a kind of a natural thing. And the other thing is, even when somebody brings us evidence to demonstrate that what we believe couldn't possibly be true, we still hang on to it. We still want to hang on to it because there's some ego attachment to that belief. There's a comfort in that belief. There's a place of man, if I have to step outside the belief, that's going to be uncomfortable. I think that's what we're talking about here.
Well, if we step outside belief, okay, let's talk about what beliefs are, and in a different level. Some people are still so stuck in their egoic mind that they believe that everything they are is their mind and everything in their mind is true. Well, right there is the root cause of most of the evil on this planet. That I have a belief that's different than your belief, and bam, I'm gonna, confront you. I'm gonna fight with you. I'm gonna hate you. I'm gonna degrade you. I'm gonna put you down. I'm gonna maybe kill you. Right? It's all based in this belief. And my belief is different than your belief, therefore I'm right and you're wrong. It gets all into judgment. It gets all into hate and war and crime and everything that is wrong with us humans. So at the core of this is that these beliefs that we have, some are good for us, some maybe are not, But when we identify with those beliefs, and that's who we are, I am this, I'm courageous, or I'm competitive, or I am this religion, or I am that politician. Those belief systems is what causes so much conflict. So when you talk about it, David, you kind of said that you brought up fear a little bit. If we start to let go of beliefs, then what's left? That's the fear. Like, what do we become?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We start to lose our identity with what we believe, then that's the fear that comes in, and people start grasping on. And even though clinging on to beliefs that maybe are hurting them, are hurting ourselves.
Yeah. You know, I remember, I think I may have brought this up in one of our earlier shows. You know, it's something that just rings in my mind. But I know for me personally, I've noticed that my ego mind really likes that word believe. If I say something like, I believe X, whatever it is, my ego mind latches onto it and it becomes a fact. It becomes the truth. It becomes my reality. But what's interesting is if I change my wording a little bit and I say, I have a theory about X. What's interesting is my ego mind doesn't seem to latch on quite as much. It doesn't have as much energy around it. And if some other evidence comes along that modifies the theory, my ego mind is more than willing to allow that to happen. So there's an interesting thing that I've noticed in me about the word belief. If I try to switch my language, and instead of saying I believe, I say I have a theory about, I am much more open to other people's perspectives. I don't know. Have you tried that or something like that?
You're hitting it exactly, and the difference there is like it's my belief. You know, my is a very egoic word. My, mean, I'm going to protect it. Me, I'm going to, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas I have an idea, or I have a theory, or I have a belief, and the like I have something, not as mine, kind of means it has the ability to kind of morph. And when you were speaking there, I was thinking, you know, we have an aversion to changing our mind. Right, we're taught to stick with what do with what you said you're going to do.
Oh God, yeah.
And more and more, I'm teaching people how to change their mind, or be okay with changing your mind. You know, maybe I had a belief yesterday based on 50 years of evidence or conditioning or whatever, and maybe today somebody brings me something different. I'm like, okay, I got to be okay with saying, you know what? Not that I was wrong, but I believe something that is no longer true for me.
Yeah.
Let it go. Change your mind. It's okay to change your mind. And that's everything about life matters. We talk about changing your mind. Well, this is a root, a core of changing your mind. So I'm with you, David. It's a what is it? It's a slippery slope. It's one of those things that we identify with is when we let go of the mind of it, and we just call it a thought or a belief or an idea. And honestly, we don't know where all this stuff in our head comes from.
Yeah.
Some of it, you know, came from confused minds. Some of it came from unconscious thought. Yeah.
Well, you know, something else I'm thinking of right now is one thing that I've always loved to do, usually at night, is just to lie down on a clear night where it's really, really dark and just look up at the stars. And I find myself feeling so open, as if there's just limitless possibility as I just look up there. You know, to me, the concept of infinity just kind of starts to overwhelm me, and it feels in a way beautiful and simultaneously a little bit scary. Like maybe this world isn't as small as I think it is, or you know, maybe everything is really just way bigger than I imagine. But what's beyond that is I think about what is out there. You know, and the possibility, we cannot possibly be the only intelligent life in the universe. That just boggles my mind. And yet so many people believe that's the case. I know that there are scientists out there who are doing research. They're finding artifacts in the earth that appear to be artificially constructed artifacts. Things like necklaces and bracelets and bells and cups and stuff like that. And yet they're buried inside, 15 feet of earth, which the surrounding territory is assumed to be tens or 20s or even hundreds of millions of years old. And so some people are proposing the thought that maybe humans have been here for hundreds of millions of years, and yet people say, didn't happen. Evolution says, bing, you know? So they buy into the belief and refuse to listen to anything else. It's a pretty amazing problem that we've got here, and I'm looking for ways to help people overcome that.
To break out of the box. And Deborah wrote a comment here. I'm in full agreement with the referring of words. My reframing of I believe or I think is I wonder. That's nice. Yeah, kind of I wonder. Like I wonder if. Yeah. Or let's think about this. Or let's think outside the box. And so many people say, oh, let's think outside the box. You know, big corporate stuff. Let's think outside the box. But yet nobody really is taught how to do that. And there is a lot of beautiful word you have in there, reframing. Reframing is a great concept, and that's just taking what you're saying or what you believe or what your thought is and just looking at it from a different angle and reframing how you think about things or how you say things or how you see things. So Deborah, thanks for bringing reframing in, because that is a brilliant tool to looking at old beliefs that maybe no longer serve us and reframing them into a different way, a different view of looking at things.
Yeah. And so we talked about, you know, our topic title is Believe 6 Impossible Things. So now this is where it gets challenging. What could be an impossible thing that might be fun to believe for a minute? You know, something like the rain falls up. You know, there's a simple little thing. What if the rain fell up? I wonder what that would be like. Maybe it's not falling. Maybe there's something else going on. Maybe there's anti-gravity. Oh my God, could there be anti-gravity? I just came to number 2. You see what's happening here? You start looking at one thing and it just leads to another. If there were anti-gravity, that means my belly wouldn't sag. And in fact, I could float around on a pillow all day long, and that would be just so awesome. You know, where does that take you, Tommy?
It takes me to reframing a little bit, right? And to loosening up our grip on reality. The Buddha actually taught that everything we see and perceive is not really what it is. And he used the term emptiness, and other people use the term I'll think of it in a minute. But the basic idea in quantum mechanics and quantum theory is showing this, is that everything we think is solid is actually lots of empty space and energy. And we've talked about that before too. So this whole concept of like gripping onto something that we believe has got to be right, and then we fight over it, and we get into like spats with our partners about it, or we kill each other in wars over it. It's over beliefs, and our fundamental understanding of what's underneath a belief is not what we perceive or think it is in the first place. The fact that we're all just energy, vibrating energy, kind of moving around in life, and the chair and the lamp are just vibrating at different frequencies, but they're still energy, the same kind of core energy. Well, you start to, you know, kind of reframe your thinking in that area, and a lot of the stuff we hold on to as firm, hard beliefs just goes away, starts to dissolve. And I think that's a healthy thing. It may sound scary, but I think it's a very healthy thing, because one word that popped in as you were talking earlier was acceptance, right? We accept more. We're more willing to accept situations and things, and even other people that are still stuck or mired in beliefs that cause them to act in horrific ways. But there comes an acceptance, because you understand that, okay, they're stuck in that way of thinking right now. Hopefully they'll wake up and snap out of it someday. But until they do, understand that, you know, it's a very accepting environment to come into it. And that's part of the reframing that I think Deborah's talking about too.
Right. All right. So far, the kinds of beliefs we've been talking about are beliefs about things kind of outside of ourselves. You know, I mean, ultimately everything comes down to something that's within, but we project it outward. So it seems like a belief on something outside of ourselves. I'd like to bring the focus back into things we believe about ourselves. And I know that for me, as part of my personal growth process, it used to be easy for me to say, oh, that guy's amazing at that. I could never do that. You know, I limit myself immediately when I put words like that into my mouth and let them come out. Because what I'm saying is there is no possibility. I am saying that is impossible. You see, we do this. We do this all the time.
We do it all the time. And we talked about this with Rima and Sarah a couple of weeks ago, Sarah Jane, in What We Speak, right? So What We Speak. So even something as simple as, well, that would be nice. You can hear the tone, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Drift off, and the would is like, I don't expect it to be true. As opposed to saying, well, that'll be nice. That will be nice. We're just kind of putting in more of a positive spin on it. And again, we do it all the time. But that little bit of reframing reconditions our mind to do things, because the truth is, being these energetic beings, we are creators. We're talking over an amazing electronic system of video and audio and computer and internet that didn't exist 100 years ago. And it was all because somebody created it. Human beings like you and me created it. And what do we create it with? Well, we create it with our thoughts. And we can think about something enough, but that's not usually enough to make something happen. But when we put our emotions into it, when we put our heart into something, that's energy too. So we're now combining thought energy with emotional energy, and then actually putting it into action. Oh my God, we can do amazing things as human beings. So what yesterday, 100 years ago, was impossible. You know what? I'm going to talk to my friend David, 300 miles away, and a bunch of other people around the world for a half hour every Friday. People would have said, you're freaking nuts. That's impossible. You can't do that. It takes us 3 months to sail across an ocean right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, here we are. So thinking that impossible thought, letting go of old beliefs is our way forward, and our way to be free, and our way to express ourselves as creative human beings.
Yeah. I have one of the processes that I teach in some of my workshops. I have this belief, if you like, that we are all unlimited beings and that we're capable of just about anything we set our minds to. And one of the ways that I demonstrate that for people is that I ask people in my group, how many people here are poets? And of course, hardly anyone will raise their hand, you know? So then I take them all through a process, lasts about an hour, I guess. And at the end, every single one of them has written 2 poems. And not only that, they have recited their poems in front of the rest of the crowd. Now, these people had told me, I said, if I knew I was going to do poetry in this workshop, I would never have come. And that's an important thing for them to say. Think about that for a minute. Man, if I knew that I was going to have to stand up and read my own poetry, and yet they did it. Not because they weren't even allowed to think about whether they were able to do it. They just simply were brought in and invited into the experience. And I had challenged them right from the beginning to have an open mind, a beginner's mind, and think no more about any of your previous conceptions of the world. It was awesome. So people can do anything they set their mind to. And it's just not necessarily easy for us to imagine all those things that we can do.
Very true. Very true. The word imagine got me into a John Lennon frame of mind, but I want to come back to the beliefs and what you were doing with those people of coming in and saying, write poetry. And I bet, you know, the fear came up and, oh my God, I can't do that. And all this drama came inside bubbling up. Because what you said earlier, I want to come back to too, is that if we believe A, then we believe not A not to be true. So if we believe, you know, we can't do poetry, then something like that. I got lost. But somehow you're blocking all your potential. Yeah. Is the bottom line of it. You're blocking your creative energy. You're blocking your purpose on this planet by some of the things that we believe. And you're right, David, you said it earlier. I still have beliefs that hold me down, that hold me back from just sometimes expressing. These sessions we do help me just free flow and get beyond some of those belief blocks. So, yeah, it's just to understand that we think beliefs are good things, and some of them are, but some of them are just really confining and really boxing us in and really restricting us from creating and being who we're here to be.
Right. You know, and it's interesting. one of the things that I say is all beliefs are limiting beliefs, or put another way, every belief is a limiting belief, including the belief that every belief is a limiting belief. So we just because I believe something good, you know, and it supposedly helps me, doesn't mean it doesn't limit me. You know, it may in fact limit me, just as any other negative belief limits me. So this is why I encourage people, look at every single belief you have, all of them. Every single belief you have, and decide for yourself if it really is a limiting belief or if it's something that empowers you. Is this belief going to empower me and move me forward in living my life and bringing my purpose into the world, creating the vision that I want for the world? Is my belief going to do that? That's really the big question. And you'll feel it instantly in your body when you ask yourself the question. If you feel yourself getting butterflies, you might want to start paying attention to that one. Because those butterflies are your body's way of telling you, oh, there's something here I got to start paying attention to. This is where your I care about life piece comes in. So pay attention to that. It might be your soul kind of waking up and saying, oh, he's finally paying attention. Yeah.
we all have those moments, those like aha moments, or maybe it's butterflies in the stomach. And again, Deborah wrote a great thing up here of setting intention plus the vibrational energy manifest things. And that's the same phrase for thinking about something, setting intention, putting your heart, your emotion into it. That's the vibrational energy, and then manifesting and creating. And I was going to come back to what you were just saying, David, which was,
oh, I have no idea. It's gone now.
It comes and goes. It'll come and go too. So yeah, the whole thing of creating and being open to new ideas, and now
you're tap dancing. It's fun to watch you tap dancing, Tommy. I really enjoy it.
The letting go part, right? The letting go, even if you think it's a good idea, it's still a limiting belief. Yeah, look at everything. Again, the words from Don Miguel Ruiz, don't believe anything you hear. You know, he goes on to say, don't believe anything you read, or don't believe anything you say or anybody else says. And he points it back and he says, hold up the mirror to yourself. You got to question whether you want to continue believing what you've believed. And you're right, David, how to get moved through that. You can't sit there and think about all the beliefs you have, because that's not the way to do it. But when you have a situation where you feel something, you feel maybe a little stuck, or you feel a little uncomfortable, or you feel a little heavy, well, that's maybe a situation to explore and hold up the mirror and say, what belief is blocking me? What's holding me back? How do I turn that heaviness or that block or that maybe that no into butterflies, or into a tingle in the back of your spine, or into maybe a little tears, misty in the eyes? There are different signals our spirit, our soul gives us in our body to show us that that's a belief that, you know, we should follow at least for a while.
Yeah. Deborah just mentioned, I get a chill run through my body.
Yep.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. But what I want to do is I want to kind of create a little exercise for people to do that they can take with them and step away from this episode. So first, I would recommend, this is Tommy and I are real list people. We like writing lists. We like the idea of journaling and getting as much information out of the head and onto the paper where we can see it and do something about it. So here's what I want you to write. I want you to write one of two things. I believe, followed by whatever statement you want to say, or I believe in, followed by something. And then once you've written that down, the next thing I want you to write down is, and this belief impacts my life by. And just write it down, whatever comes to your mind. I believe X, and this belief impacts my life by, or I believe in X, and this belief impacts my life by. Just do that, and for as many beliefs as you can think of. This is not about judging them. This is not about making them right or wrong. This is simply about raising awareness. And I'd like you to just, in the process of doing that, notice what happens in your body. Notice what kind of feelings you get in your body for each one of those, and maybe jot that down as well.
Yeah, I think the main point to seal this in is go into your body and feel, right? That's where your truth teller is. And whether it's a chill up your spine, sometimes when I get a really big truth like comes through me, my eyes kind of glisten up. Like I don't cry, but it's like it comes that far. and the chill up the spine, the butterfly in the stomach. So do this list, write down things. What'd you say? I believe, or I believe in, and then how this impacts
me by
impacts me, and then
or impacts my life.
And then go back through and read them and feel them and see what kind of feelings come in. That's a great exercise, David. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And Deborah, you didn't knock me off balance so much. It was just my head was going in a couple different directions, and I had to kind of get it focused again by shutting it off.
See, Tommy, Deborah is very active on this call. I think maybe we should talk to her and see about bringing her on.
Let's see what Deborah does. That'd be fun. Thanks, Deborah, for your great comments today, and everyone else for watching. David, we're done already. What's up for next week?
Well, next week we're going to be talking about a very, very interesting topic. I think all our topics are interesting. That's just a belief I have. But this one is going to be all about this notion of spontaneous wisdom. And I don't want to say too much more about it than that, Tommy. I want people to kind of just think about that for a while and see, maybe it brings up thoughts for themselves. But we're going to have fun with it next week.
We will. So until next week, thanks, everybody. Spontaneous wisdom next time. David, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.